Thanks everyone for attending. Hopefully this is some helpful information. A lot of this you'll come to realize that I'm going to stress everyone's experience is different. Everyone's requirements and needs and desires and wants and so on and so forth are different. So after this, do your own research. If you have any questions, please feel free to connect with me. Networking is a huge part of how you make your way through your career field and level up. So this is leveling up after high school. Of course, I had to gamify it a little bit. I think it helps me just in life when it comes to a lot of tasks. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. I'll address some questions that we've already received, and then towards the later half of this discussion, we'll open it up, and I would definitely like a nice conversation between us all. So that being said, again, I'm Michael Jeter, Shell Games Talent Acquisition Specialist. I basically look for all of the talent in the industry when it comes to video games. So when it comes to skills and hobbies exploration, this is a great way to start that search for what you're interested in doing, potentially for the rest of your life. Granted, things can change, so please feel free to pivot when need be. But yeah, self-exploration is very important, along with listing your skills and hobbies so you have an idea of what you can look for, doing some research, of course, after that, and then things that you can improve upon before you actually get into the job market. Learning how to search for a job can be a very difficult thing if you make it. However, there are definitely a lot of easy ways to be able to set yourself up to pretty much have what is the new technology do all of the work for you. A job search is more than just a Google search, so that's important to keep in mind. Preparation needed for any next steps when it comes to once you've found a job that you're interested in, what to do now. How to grow after you've landed a job. That is also very important because you don't want to stay stagnant. There's so many things to learn. There are so many paths and routes that you can take to get from one title to another to improve upon your skills and kind of pass that down to others. So this is kind of how to climb the ladder and essentially how to achieve success, or at least what success means to you. Just as a disclaimer, again, this is not black and white. There are endless ways to achieve success, and it's very important that you research things on your own. So a good thing to start with is ask yourself, what hobbies am I definitely interested in? What it just seems to be every time you have some free time, you go to this. Again, this is kind of that mixing your passion with the professional aspects of things. So for instance, I love video games, if that's not apparent already. It is something that I've always wanted to get into. I actually graduated from Michigan State University with an art degree, with a mindset of getting into video games somehow, but did not set out that path for me. So when I came to Pittsburgh, 6 years ago now, I wasn't exactly sure how I would do that because Pittsburgh isn't really known for its video game studios. But there are different ways to get into something that you're interested in without being that person. You don't have to be a game developer. You don't have to be, and I'm again just using references to the video game industry. You don't have to be an engineer or whatever the case may be to help in the game development process. So figuring out your hobbies, again, are they video games? Do you just like problem solving? Are puzzles your thing? Do you like cosmetics and makeup and so on and so forth? Cooking is, or would you like to get into, culinary work? These are things that you kind of want to circle and outline, and that's a great way to start. And then from there, you can build your skill tree. Another thing is what roles are needed in these industries that might pertain to your hobbies. Recruitment is a great way. Finance works its way into these industries, in every single industry. There's always going to be need for management or HR. All of these resources are available to you and don't necessarily need a degree to start with. It just needs experience. Find out how you can be of help, and then again, chart that path to get to that position. So what skills do you feel best exemplify you? I pretty much got into this role by dressing appropriately for a job that was just meant to be for carpentry. Came in with a suit, came in with resume and information ready, and the way I presented myself and talked with the manager and then general manager got me into recruitment, and now it's gotten me here. 5 years later, I'm in essentially what I believe is my dream job. And I think that all started from being able to talk with people. And that's just a skill that I feel like I naturally have. Are you good with your hands? again, construction, craft, all of those things are needed in almost every industry. So it is important to kind of take that into consideration. Do you know your way around computers? Are you the go-to person in the family or your friends when something breaks down and they say, hey, what's going on? And then you solve it in 5 minutes. That's, again, it's very important and needed in today's world. Let's see, fields of interest. So again, has anything piqued your interest lately? Have you started to get into something? You're watching Twitch channels or YouTubes on how to learn how to do something. It could be plumbing, it could be fixing up something. Find those curiosities and expand on that a little bit more. Don't be afraid to kind of dive deep into it and see if it works or does not work for you. That is just one way how you, again, build certain skill sets and learn what suits you best. That's where a lot of the passion lies. Passion is a very important part in what can make you happy when it comes to working. And that's mental health is extremely important. It's something that shouldn't be overlooked. So do that research, take a deep dive inside, see what works best with you and for you and what you're interested in pursuing. Yes, and again, these skills that today's workers, I feel like today's workers are missing most, I would definitely say are soft skills. The ability to communicate and collaborate with each other it's important. Very rarely are there jobs where it is just you doing that work. So the ability to be able to take feedback and give feedback it's paramount to, I feel like, almost anything else. If you could be the most skilled person at your job, but if no one wants to work with you because you're just stubborn as the day is long, it's going to be very frustrating to get through just a meeting with someone. So building soft skills, which basically networking, joining organizations, joining clubs, again, exploring your hobbies will definitely help with that. So it's something to keep in mind, and we can expand upon that more during the discussion. And what I specifically like about this is if you take a look at the GIF, you can see the Pip-Boy going through it, and you find step by step until eventually it leads you to the destination that you're looking for. It is not something to where you're going to have a job land at your front door. So it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of searching and a lot on your part to be able to get to where you want to be. Again, don't just use Google. Google is great because it is able to capture so many different sites and brings it together and lays it out for you in a nice format, but it does not update as regularly as you would like. And sometimes in a lot of industries, it is a race to the finish. So there are places like LinkedIn is great because it, again, allows recruiters like myself who mainly use LinkedIn to be able to see what hobbies you're getting into, what skills that you're developing and learning. Professional development is big. So if I see that someone is constantly honing different skills by getting certifications or even just exploring different hobbies here and there, it's great for me to see like, okay, this person is passionate over the same person that has the same type of experience. And that's what I want. I want that energy that they're going to bring to the table. Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Monster, all the websites like that, if you sign up and you have certain interests or positions that you're interested in, these will alert you to those jobs. I know it can be overlooked now. For instance, like Monster and ZipRecruiter, but the thing is, it's a quick 10 to 15 minute setup for you to create an account, and then it hands you jobs on a silver platter, usually via email. So doesn't hurt to do it, and then you just turn off the notifications once you're done. A big part of when people are looking for jobs, I tell them keywords. No one's turning in resumes by hand anymore, going up to a job. All of my previous jobs during high school and during college, I would have to go up to the company, ask to speak to a recruiter or HR, hand them my resume and my cover letter, and then I can leave, and then they may give me a call back. Now you post it online and we search for it. And the way I search for it are by searching for skills. So it's important to take a look at what jobs have certain requirements and certain skills and take those keywords and put them on your resume. What you just want to do is make sure it's clear, concise, keep it to one page, and have keywords. And that is as easy as it can get. Once you get to a certain point in your career, please take off the high school information because it won't be necessary at that point. You can just say graduated or have GED or whatever the case may be. But other than that, just make sure it's legible. That's the most important thing. And bullet points, that's always great. Ask who's hiring. Word of mouth is great. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, it's not what you know, but who you know. And that is important, especially in what is a city like this. It's It's a small, big city, I like to think of it, where most likely you have a connection with someone in the company, and that is a great way to get your foot in through the door. Having an inside person is absolutely amazing and awesome to have, so keep that in mind. Please ask around. There are a lot of programs and organizations that are out there that you don't necessarily have to go to college to get a great job. That I think is something that should be stressed over and over again. It is great to go to college. It is amazing to get that education. It is perfect. But do you have to have that in order to get a good career? No. Career links, Job Corps, vocational and trade schools, again, it is something to look into. And a lot of that you can learn through just a quick Google search. Also, research the companies. Certain companies can offer a lot that can propel you to that next step. I think it's perfectly fine to use a company or a position as a stepping stone. That's just how it works. That's why they say climbing the ladder, you have to take a step and another step and another step to get to where you want to be. When you're researching a company, see what programs can be offered. For instance, I know like even McDonald's has a program with school and helping to pay for that, and scholarships and so on and so forth. Research the company, research the roles, research the benefits, and the mission and values are important because there are a lot of companies out there that the bottom line is just the money, and they don't unfortunately care too much about the employees. You want to make sure that you're not getting into a toxic environment because that could be bad for your mental health and how you develop professionally, and also that can lead to a lot of deprogramming that's necessary for the next step. It's important to, again, make sure that your company values you as an employee. Don't be afraid to take side quests. You're not above any job. There are floors that need sweeping. There are bathrooms that need cleaning. Explore multiple areas, see what works for you. And if you need something in the meantime to at least develop some skills, everything can be a talking point in the next interview. So keep that in mind, and don't be afraid to take on a job that you maybe feel isn't an exact fit for you at that time. Mastering the technique is something that's interesting, and by technique I mean your interviewing skills, your resume skills. Once you get into the job, how to work with people, so on and so forth. Mastering your technique means basically not settling for where you're at that moment. Research commonly asked interview questions before you go into a job. I know this is pretty straightforward. A lot of the questions will be the same. There's usually the top 10 questions. I know everyone's going to say, what's your biggest strength and what's your biggest weakness? I thought I knew that going into a job, and I didn't take the time to think about it. And someone asked me that, and I sat there for 5 minutes trying to think of what my biggest strength and weakness is. And I gave the, answer of, oh, well, my biggest strength is I care too much. No one wants to hear that. Make sure that when you're prepping yourself. Note cards aren't just for school. Set those out. Make sure you're prepping yourself for questions, and prep questions in the meantime. It's important to ask interviewers and companies questions so you can learn more about the company from the inside. Practice interviewing with parents, with family members, with friends. It might be a silly exercise you feel like, but it honestly pays off in the end. It pays off tremendously. If you don't practice this, or let's say you're not having a ton of interviews right off the bat, but what you're getting are 2 and 3 interviews here, that's not enough to really be able to hone those skills. And an interview and your resume and the cover letter are possibly the most important because that's how you get seen in the first place. Finding referrals is pretty straightforward. 2 to 3 referrals. Try and make sure they're professional. If you don't have any professional referrals right off the bat, teachers, counselors, church members, absolutely great to go to. Dress appropriately. Understand casual versus business casual versus professional. A lot of jobs you don't have to go into wearing a suit and tie. Some jobs wouldn't hurt if you went in with a suit and tie, but never go in shorts, tennis shoes, so on and so forth. You want to make sure that, again, you are dressing appropriately because that is just a professional manner and a great way to show that you actually care and you're not wasting anyone's time. And then post-interview follow-up, it's awesome to send an email saying, hey, thank you for taking out the time to talk with me. I had a few questions, or I felt like there's something that I could clarify to help make me a better fit as a candidate. It is great because, again, it shows that you're interested and you truly care and you're taking out the time to reach back out. All right, you've leveled up, but what do you do now? Set goals for yourself. Discuss these goals with your managers. Learn what skills are necessary to get there and find that out with your manager or just doing your own research. Work on finding your path because that is the greatest way to, if you don't really have any path, it's hard to get lost in the weeds if you don't exactly know what routes to take. Talk with people, network, see what people are both in your field, in your discipline, in your department, and outside of that. It's a great way to see, what else out there, what what else is out there and what might interest you. Extracurricular growth is great. I have the opportunity to work with CAMP, a program with Vibrant Pittsburgh, where I'm able to mentor various CCAC students here and there. And it's actually been able to allow me to network and talk with people outside of my industry, which has been awesome. And again, it is kind of growing my knowledge of Pittsburgh and the area. It's important to do that research because, again, not every answer is going to be perfect. So keep that in mind. And most importantly, do not give up. It can be so frustrating when you have the job in your hands and it just doesn't work out. Maybe someone is a better fit. That's okay. Tomorrow there's going to be another position. The day after that, there's going to be another position. Just keep searching. It might be a while. Again, I've been at this for 8 years and I'm finally at a place where I feel comfortable. And from here, I only see growth. And that's exactly what I've been aiming for. So don't give up. Keep trying at it and keep asking. That's important. Reach out to those who have already been through what you're interested in going through. So we can open up some discussions. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to clarify.